Guys, welcome back to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and discuss another built-in exception that is called the query exception. Now, what is this query exception? Anytime a problem occurs with SOQL queries will result into a query exception. So what kind of problems? So let's say you have written a query which gives you no records, or it gives you more than one record, and you are trying to put the result of that query into a singleton X object query variable. So in that case, it will result into a query exception because you are trying to put more than one record into a singleton S object variable. So that is what can result into an exception, and that exception is called as the query exception. So let's go ahead and take a simple example here. So let me go back to my developer console here, and I'm going to show you what is a query exception. So let's say I have a try catch block here, and what I am doing inside of the try block is I am trying to retrieve the list of the leads whose name starts with the letter. If I go back to my leads here, go to leads, to the, let's say, sales, and search for leads here. Leads. My leads, my important leads. Okay, let's go to the my leads. Let's say I wanted to record, or I want to search with the name Sharma. So let me go back here to my developer console, and let's say I am going to write a query and I'm trying to retrieve the name field from which object and document. From the lead. Select name from lead object. Select from lead where name is like Sharma. And I'm using the percentage character, and I'm saying that, hey, I'm trying to fetch the lead records where the name is like Sharma, and whatever I have, like it can be one record or it can be multiple records. Whatever I have, I'm going to put into this list of lead records. So I'm going to create a list of leads, and I'm going to say, and I'm going to store those results into this particular list. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going ahead and display the size of the list. So I'm going to say system.debug size of the list, size of the list lm.of. There is a size method available, so I'm going to call that method and I'm going to display the size. Now what can be the possibility here? The possibility can be that, hey, there are no records with the name Sharma, right? So in that case, this list will be empty. or there might be records which is have the name Mike or Sharma. So this might contain one or two lead records. Now, the next thing is, let's go ahead and write another query here. Let's say I'm going to say select the name from which table, from lead table, from lead where the name is like, where name is like, let's say XYZ, and then limit 1. I am trying to fetch the first or only the one record where the name is like XYZ, and whatever the result is, I am going to store that result in this variable called L. And the particular record may be there or may not be there. So now what I'm going to do is, what kind of exception it can throw? It can throw the type query exception, and I'm trying to handle that exception using this catch block. And inside of this catch block, I'm going to say system.debug the following exception has occurred. Following exception has occurred. And I'm going to display everything e dot using this get method, get message available in this exception class. Now, if I go back here to my leads, you can see here there is leads available with the name Sharma, but I don't see anything with the XYZ. Okay, so if I go back here, this particular part may result into nothing, right? It can be empty, and you're trying to put that into this singleton, the singleton object of lead, right? So this might result into exception. Let's see. So if I go ahead and hit the execute button, go to debug only, you can see here this particular things work fine. There is Sharma available in the leads. So this LM has 2 records in it. So that's why the size of the list is 2. Now, in this case, what happened is you are trying to access the name field from the leads records whose name is XYZ, but there is nothing, and you're trying to assign into this variable called L. That's why this particular thing gave you an exception. Now, what kind of exception it is? It is of the type query exception. So this particular statement resulted into an exception. Now, if you are trying to look for, let's say, Sharma here again, in this case, there would not be any exception thrown because you are going to find the record whose name is equals to Sharma. So that's why in this case, if you run this, there will not be any exception because you will able to find that particular name. go to debug only. Yeah, now it is not showing any error. This catch block doesn't got executed in this because no exception was thrown in this try block. So there is no need of the catch block. So now what happened here is, since there was no exception thrown, catch block did not get executed. The catch block will only get executed if there was an exception thrown and if that is of the type query exception. Now, if you do not have this handler, like if you do not have this try catch block, all you had was just this thing. Let's copy this. Yeah. You did not have this, any of these. So let's say I am going ahead and comment out this code here. Let's use the multiple line comments. And all I have is this. Since you have Sharma here, let me put something else. Now, if I go ahead and execute this, this is going to throw you an query exception. And there says that there was no rows for the assignment for the S object. This means you are trying to assign something which doesn't exist. So that's why it gave you an exception. But if you had a try catch block, in that case, if the exception was thrown, the catch block will execute it and the remaining of the program will also get executed without any disruptions. So this is what the query exception is. Any problem with the SOQL queries, such as assigning a query which returns no records or more than one record to a singleton object variable, will result into an query exception. So here you are trying to look for the lead whose name is equals to this, and you are trying to assign that into this object. That's why it gave you an exception, because this particular object doesn't even exist. Now, in the next tutorial, we are going to go ahead and discuss another built-in exception of the type S object, and we are going to cover more of that in the next tutorial. So I will see you then. Have a good day. Bye.